Well, hello Divi Nation. Welcome to a brand new Divi use case live stream where each week we show you how to add new design and functionality to your Divi websites. And in this live tutorial today, we're going to be showing you how to use global presets and the Divi Layout Block to streamline your blog post design. And this includes the design of your blog post template as well as your blog post content when using the default WordPress block editor. So don't forget to check out more information on this use case by visiting the video description below. And let's go ahead and jump in and get started. All right, so welcome everyone. I do want to make sure that I'm coming in loud and clear for you guys. So if you could give me a thumbs up, also let us know where you are, say hello. Hopefully this is a nice break from the boredom of being at home all day or working from home. Howdy, Jason, welcome. Nice name. Let's see, it looks like I might be having trouble on the Facebook stream. So if I can get some feedback on that. Lewis from Portugal, welcome. Nice to see you, or to hear from you at least. All right, so as we're trickling on in, thank you, Diego, for giving me the thumbs up that it's loud and clear, at least on YouTube. All right. Yeah, it looks like Facebook is acting up at the moment. Okay, so I'll wait to hear back from that. But all right, so here's kind of where we're going today. I know some of you might be just joining us right now, so I'm just going to restate what this live tutorial is all going to be about. We're going to be using global presets. So if you don't know what that is, we're going to show you what that is. Also, we're going to use the Divi Layout Block, which is a feature that allows you to add Divi design elements to the default WordPress block editor or Gutenberg for your blog post. So we're going to use those two resources to kind of streamline the design of your blog post. So if you're a blogger and you want to kind of improve the process of adding new designs as you blog, to kind of get rid of the distraction of designing while you create those beautiful blog posts with amazing content, this might be helpful for you. And plus we'll learn hopefully some new things along the way as we use some of these features. But right here, you'll see in the background, this is a blog post that has a Divi post template, and I'll show you how to add that. And this kind of is the template aspect of the design. The actual blog post content is actually inside this little container here. So this is your blog post content that is being pulled from the backend WordPress block editor. And you'll see that I've introduced or added some of these design elements. This is a custom call to action here with a button link that we've built using or taking advantage of the global presets so we can add these elements really quickly. And also here's like a blog post quote here that we've built. And then here's just a couple of blurbs as well added to the post content using the Divi Layout Block editor and those global presets. So if I'm not speaking your language at this point, you're a little bit confused. Hopefully it clears up as we go along. The main point of this is that we're trying to improve or speed up adding new design and content to your blog posts. All right. So what you will need for this tutorial is a couple of free layouts or templates. We're going to use the Divi Web Agency Global Presets Style Guide. And this style guide is actually going to be, or is something that we've already offered for free from our blog. And this Global Presets Style Guide basically is a layout that comes prepackaged with all the presets needed to style that particular website. In this case, the Web Agency Layout Pack. So this style guide is full of these modules. Well, these are some images or elements that you can use just for helpful copy-paste reference. But here is where you'll find like the text styles and all of these. If I click on this H1 here, this is a text module, you'll see that they have a presets tab that I can open up and then find all of the, let me scroll down here or zoom out, find all of the presets available for that particular text module. And these presets, I'll just go ahead and give you a different example. Let's say I want to, I have these different button presets, and these are pre-designed buttons ready for me to use by just changing the preset. So this right now is using the button 2 preset, but if I change it to button 3, you can see that design change. So these presets really speed up the development of your website, especially from the ground up when you're starting from scratch. That way you don't have to waste time copying, pasting settings or styling or basically restyling over and over and over again. This really speeds up the process. And so what we're going to show you, in addition to, in general, how to use these presets, is how to use them to, create blog posts content and design your blog post template. Because a lot of times, maybe you have a Divi Layout Pack that you're using, but you don't have a blog post template for that particular layout pack. Well, you can use this concept to create your presets, and then when you go to design your blog post template, you'll have them ready to go. So if you don't have a global preset style guide, you can simply go and open up a layout pack and just create your own presets just by, for example, if I wanted to add this particular video module as a preset, I would simply go open up my preset drop down and click create new preset from this current styles. After I created a new preset, it would be available for me to use anywhere else on my website whenever I add that module. So if you don't have a style guide, you can just use any layout from your website or any page with the modules and just create those presets, and they'll be saved for you to use later on. I'm just using this global preset style guide as kind of like a helpful way to add these elements and show you how to add them for this live tutorial. All right, so there's the first thing you'll need is some presets added to your website, and the way you would do that here from scratch, if you wanted to use this preset style guide, for example, you would go to your WordPress dashboard and I'll go ahead and save and exit. And then you would go to, well, actually first you would need to go and download it. So there's actually a blog post that went out earlier this week, I believe, or last week, called Get a Free Global Preset Style Guide for Divi's Web Agency Layout Pack. And we've been releasing these every week for the past month, I believe. And this one, you would simply, get it for free. Just enter your email address and click to download the file. Once you have the file, you would go over to your WordPress dashboard and go to your Divi library and click on Import and Export. Make sure the Import tab is selected, and then you would, bring in that file from your computer. I'll just drag it in here and show you. And once it's selected, make sure you select import presets, and all of those presets that were in the layout will carry over and automatically be applied to your site-wide and be available all at once. And then you would click import Divi Builder layouts. I already have mine there. It will show up right here. And then from this point, you can go in and click the edit button and, use this as a this is also a good way to, bring over design elements or copy design elements over to your new page that you're designing. So I want to make sure and build it on the front end so I can see the style guide and work from there. All right. So that's the first thing you want, to have the style guide. I would leave it open maybe in another browser so it would be readily available for you. And then the next thing you'll need is to install a post template. This is, you could of course design one from scratch, but I'm just going to import a free post template that matches the style guide. It's from the Web Agency Layout Pack. And this is also on our blog, was released pretty recently. And I would simply go down and download the files. Once I have that JSON download, I would go over here to my theme builder, click on the portability option, import, and then I would select the file and import it. Once it has been imported, it'll look like this. It'll have a custom or a new template here assigned to all posts on your site. And it has a custom body. You would go in here to open that custom body to edit it, and it'll bring up the post layout editor. And here is where you would design your blog post template. Now, the template is where you design the dynamic or add dynamic elements and design stuff around your blog post content. The blog post content exists within this post content module here, which is only available in a blog post template, obviously. But this is where you would, assign all of your H1, H2s, H3 designs, and so forth. And then when you pull up the actual post, the content will pull from that design that or the settings that you put forth in the post content module. So even though it looks like this on the back end, like this is a post on the back end, it will, because we're using a post template with the post content module styles, it will actually look nice and pretty on the front end. Okay. So you could of course use the style guide to, if you're doing this from scratch, to copy and paste those heading texts over as you go along. But for example, let's say I wanted to create a title for my blog post using presets. I could do that because if I click on this or add a new text module, you can see I have these text presets. One of them is an H1. So if this is the title of my page, I want it to be an H1. So I can select that preset and it will style it exactly how I want. And it will streamline that design process for me. It will match the other H1s on my website. All right, so that's just an example. If I go down here, let's say I wanted to design this this dynamic author info, with the author pick, author name, author bio. This is actually used using a blurb module. But because I have imported these, I'm pulling up my style guide here, I've imported these blurbs with the presets. I can use these blurbs to, add a new design to my to my post author info here. So I could go down here, I could pick a blurb design, and you can see how it changes. And you can add, presets for everything basically. So let's say I have this contact form. Well, there's a preset for that. There's my contact form preset. If it was the default, if I had it set to my defaults, it wouldn't look like that, obviously, but I can just really quickly design it with the preset. So that's kind of the idea of how you would design a blog post template using these presets that you've added, from the layout pack or from your website when building your website in Divi. So that's one way. But now let's direct our attention to how you would design or add new design elements using these presets to an actual post or to the post content in Gutenberg or in the WordPress Block editor. So before I do that, I just want to make sure and welcome those of you who are just joining us to this Divi use case live stream, where each week we show you how to add new design and functionality to your Divi websites. In this live tutorial, we're showing you how you can use global presets with Divi layout blocks to streamline the blog post design process. And we just talked about how we can, streamline that process or use the global presets to add or create a blog post template or add design to a blog post template. Also, we're going to show you how you can create blog post content using these presets with the WordPress Block editor. So that's where we're going next. All right, so we're looking good on questions. If I don't have any questions to answer, I'm just going to keep chugging along here. Welcome everyone. Chris from Congo, from Ashu. Hello, Real from Colombia, and Christian from Guatemala. Thank you. And Gabrielle. Not sure if that's a greeting or not, but hello. All right, so let's keep on going. This is, again, just to remind you, this is the blog post template we created. And inside every blog post template, there is a blog post content module or a post content module. And that is where the post content that you add on the back end will exist. So let's now go back to creating or editing an actual blog post. So here's a blog post that I created using the WordPress Block editor on the back end here. All I did was add, some headings and the paragraphs here. And these headings will be styled using the template because we added those styles here in the post template or the post content module. So those are taken care of, but what about when we want to add a new design element like, a custom call to action or like a quote? Maybe you don't have you're not happy with your child theme, or you have, you don't know CSS well enough to kind of create these or style these WordPress blocks how you want. Well, you can use the Divi Layout Block to do basically anything you want. And then you can use the Divi layout or the Divi builder to design those elements. And so the first thing, let's go ahead and show you how to add a Divi layout block. I'm just going to click on to add a new block. And there it is right there. If you have Divi obviously installed and active, that Divi layout block will be available for you in the WordPress Block editor. Going to go ahead and click on to use the Divi layout block. It will ask me, do I want to build a new layout or load it from a library? That should look familiar for those of us who use Divi. You can, of course, load an entire pre-made layout from a library, but in this case, it makes more sense to build one from scratch. So we're going to do that. We're going to build a new layout. And I'm going to select to actually build it from, it's updating my preview over here. All right, so you'll notice that the actual size of the section kind of equates to the size of the container on the back end there. So if it's smaller, it looks a little weird. That's just because that's the space available for you within the blog post content container. All right, so now what I want to do is start adding some design elements to build out a custom call to action. Well, if we already have an existing site or an existing layout pack or a style guide, and we have some, presets available to us, this process becomes a lot easier, a lot quicker, a lot more efficient. So what I'm going to do is create a one column row, which should be fairly straightforward. And before I add any modules though, I do want to add a background to my section here. And if I have my style guide open, these style guides come with, some helpful background colors, hex codes, things like that. But let's say I like this design here. This is background. I'm going to open this up. And if you don't have a style guide, just pretend like this is an element on your actual layout or your page. You can just pick the one you want, a background that you like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, copy the background. I'm going to go back over to my block editor, excuse me, layout block editor, open up my section, and then I'm going to paste that background in here. All right, so that takes care of my background. Now I want to add a text module. And when I add a new text module, all I need to do is, of course, add my new content, which I'm just going to add an H3 with some, whatever call to action you want. But I'm just making note that this is an H3 heading because I'm going to select up here in my presets. I'm going to select the H3 preset. And so once I do that, you can see it automatically styles that text to match my site or to match, the other H3s throughout my site. All right, so that was easy, but as you can see, it's by default, this preset is dark and doesn't really look good on a dark background. So even though it is a preset, I have the option of just, adding or tweaking it a little bit. This is where the beauty of using Divi comes in, because if this were a child theme, it would be very hard to update that H3 just for this specific instance. All right, so there's my H3. I just want to make it white. There you go. After that, I want to center it. So I can do that by adjusting the alignment to center it. Easy enough. Just a few clicks. I have my heading. Next, I want to add a button module. All right, so I'm going to pull up my layers tab. Sometimes if I don't have a hard time selecting something, I just have it open. It's always a good idea to have it open. But you can actually add new modules. I'm going to add a new module underneath my text module there. I'm going to add a button module. And if you remember, I have all these cool button presets, well, at least 4 or 5 of them, ready for me to use on my website. So I can pull from those when I add a new button here. So I just go to my presets, add button number 3. And there you go. In just one click, I have a button already pre-designed, ready to go. All I need to do is adjust the content, maybe view case study, something like that. And then of course, add the button link that would go to that particular case study or a particular page. I'm going to save that out, and I'm going to click the save and exit button down there from my window, and then it's going to automatically save it and pop up on the WordPress block editor here. And that's, an indication of what it's going to look like on the actual live blog page. So real quick, just checking on questions here. We're going to add another design element in a second. One question from Philip. Hi, Philip. Can you add a call to action box over a portion of a picture? That's a hard, well, it's just going to be hard for me to exactly picture what you're wanting. I'm assuming you mean like an overlapping kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a broken grid type layout where things are overlapping, things like that. Yes is the answer to that question. You could do that. You would just simply need to, go back into the Divi layout editor for this particular block. Maybe change the, like just a real quick example. I could add a, image here. And then let's say I wanted to, let's just pick that image. I don't know. And then you could, give this a certain position, like absolute position here, and change the z-index so that it stays behind the other content. And, maybe move it around a bit with some transform options, something like that. Get you like a little broken grid design. And I could change the overflow of my setting here, change the visibility to hidden. That way you don't see that rest of the image overflow, something like that. That's just a quick example. But it's a good question. We got tons of stuff on our blog, tutorials about those kind of things. How to use, margins and transform options to position images in certain places. So, all right, so I'm going to, again, exit out of here. All right, let's go on. Let's add another design element. This time we're going to build that quote here. And so I got I use a column block to get my, 2 columns there. But now I'm going to add a Divi Layout Block in this right column. And I'm going to build the new layout just like before. Build from scratch. And let's choose a 1 column layout. And before I add my module, you can see like because I have a 2 column layout, the section is a little smaller because it's showing you that's about, how much room you have to work with for this layout block. I'm going to pull from my global preset style guide. And this could be like your website or whatever. I like this dark background. So I'm just going to open that and copy it, just like before. Just copy the background. And let's go ahead and paste it. Oops. Click out of that. Open my settings and paste my background. All right, now that that's done, let's go ahead and add one of our preset testimonials. So I'm going to add a testimonial module. Testimonial module comes kind of with a built-in quote, icon, which kind of like what we're looking for a quote. You can use custom images with different modules if you want, but let's go ahead and use the Testimonial 2 preset. And the preset didn't take out my image, so I'm going to do that manually, that image there. So you might have to make a few adjustments. Let's go ahead and go back to my design, and let's go ahead and save it out. I think this, there. So that's how it looks by default. So we need to tweak it a little bit. So I'm going to go back into that to edit the layout. And even though it's a preset, we can, tweak the design. So let's do that. I'm going to change the quote icon color to a semi-transparent white. So I'm going to bring it down so it's nice and faint. Then I'm going to change the, body font. I want it to be, I'm going to change the font weight to light and make the text italic and make it left aligned, make it white, increase the size to, I don't know, something, let's say 20 or 24. Let's cut down on the content. We don't need that big of a quote. There you go. And also, let's do the author text. Let's just change the text size to 16 and make sure that it is Ubuntu, the matching font. Click Save. Oh, at this point, since I did make a lot of change to a preset, this kind of defeats the purpose, I know, of having presets a lot of times. But nevertheless, we did have a nice jumping off point to kind of tweak it however we want. Sometimes it works out that you don't have to make any changes to the preset, which is great, but sometimes you do have to make some tweaks. And if you make a lot of tweaks to the preset, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and create a new one altogether so that you can use this, like for in this case, probably want to use a blog post quote again and again as you create more blog posts. So to create a new preset from this current style, just click the Create New Preset from Current Styles button. Give the preset a name. Just call it Blog Post Quote. And then save it. And then save it again. And then I'm going to save the layout block settings. Oh, looky there. I've got something wrong, and I know what it is. By default, or I have forgotten to change one element or one design element on this module here. And that is, by default, it will, on a testimonial module, have this background or use background color button. I'm just going to make sure that that's off. It also gives me a little bit more width there. So I'll save that out. That looks better. Okay, so that takes care of our quote block here. And let's continue on. Last one, we will use another Divi Layout Block, build from scratch. And make sure select build from scratch. I'm gonna give it a 2-column layout. And on the left side, I'm just going to add a blurb. I'm just going to add one of our presets. Again, I can go through all of my blurb presets to figure out the one I want. Actually, it helps to add the icon first, or the image just going to use one of these small ones here. And then I can flip through the presets to see which one I like. This could be used to add, a list. Some of these only work with certain images. But let's go ahead and select this one. I like that one. And this could be used as a list item in your blog post, a custom list item, things like that. Save it out. I'm actually going to, copy or duplicate this one and drag it to the right column to make my next one. And then, update the icon, something else. And just like that, I've got a nice custom list. Of course, add the content and save it. And so that's a great way to add these custom design elements to your blog post. Oh, look at there. I've erased my call to action item there. That's all right. I think I forgot to update the post, but that's okay. The damage has been done, and I can always go in and recreate that really quickly. But lesson learned, a lot of times it's helpful to save those. And I'm going to give you a nice trick here in a moment to save these as reusable layout blocks so you don't run into that problem again. So I'm going to, exit out of that. So add my background. It's not going to be exactly alike, but it's going to be close. Get my text module in there. You get to see my H3 content. And then use my preset H3 there. Can't see it yet. Got to adjust the color of my heading H3. There you go. Centered. Add my button module right in there. And add my preset. Let's do that one. Okay. A little different than the original design, but gets the job done. All right. Now that all my elements are in place, you can actually take this a step further to speed up and streamline the process. You can create these what are called reusable blocks in the WordPress block editor. So this entire Divi layout block with the custom design, with the presets, can all be saved as a reusable block for later use. So all I would do is add this to reusable blocks, give it a name, call it blog CTA, and save it. Once that's done, I will have access to that reusable block. For example, if I go down here to my reusable blocks, there it is, the blog CTA, add it, and it's going to automatically add it in there. And I can go in and edit that block by first converting it to a normal block or convert it to a regular block, and then I can customize it however I want. So I actually have a blog post about how to use, reusable blocks to, add some of these Divi layout blocks, to your post. All right, so any questions at this point? Let me check the comments or the chat. All right, so So a question from Vincent says, kind of unrelated. Did you plan to add more blog-related modules, functions, custom fields? Good question. We are always seeking to improve these elements, these modules, adding new stuff. So I can't say specifically which ones or what we are going to be doing. We got a lot of other cool features that are coming out soon. But I think, you know, we recently did make it easier to add custom fields using third parties stuff a lot easier. So that's a good thing. But having more blog modules, I can see a benefit to that. So appreciate the question / suggestion. Qasim, I'm missing custom fields for toolset custom post fields. So maybe there's some issues with the compatibility with toolsets, I think is what you're getting at. And you're also saying that it's a good idea to have some hover effects of products and galleries. All right, so thanks again for the suggestions there. If there's... All right, so let me just wrap it up here. We have just taking a look at the final result. Let's go ahead and make sure and save it out. And let's take a peek. So there's my, my CTAs there, my quote, and my blurbs. And of course, I have my blog post template in place as well. All this can be done more quickly and efficiently using global presets. And of course, the Divi Layout Block to harness in the design of those elements using the Divi Builder. Oh, another comment from Vincent. He says he meant custom fields like for the author social network. Okay. All right. Good suggestion. Looks like we're good on questions. I'm going to let you guys get back to your day. All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe to our blog newsletter, our YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook. And of course, give a thumbs up for this video and make sure you select to get those notifications. That way we can let you know whenever we have something new for you. And speaking of new, this coming Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern is our weekly WP Roundups live stream. So you want to tune in for that. Also, we'll be back here next Tuesday with another Divi use case live stream, 3 p.m. Eastern as well. And don't forget to check out the video description for more information on how you can contribute your own unique content on our Elegant Themes blog. So a lot of exciting things coming up. That's all I got. Thanks for tuning in again, and I'll see you in our next video.